Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are now going into episode 18 of Behind Enemy Lines podcast. Today, our topic is going to be, is it panic time? Um, I don't think it is, but we're going to dive into that. And as always, I'm joined by my good buddy and fellow Habs fan, Steve.
Well, it's good to be back co-hosting yet another episode of Behind Enemy Lines. And again, a quick shout out to all the people that are listening, subscribing, sending us feedback. It's good to hear from you. If you have anything else moving forward, please drop us a line, a note, text message, messenger, whatever you got. Let us know. But it's good to be talking Habs hockey. And I will agree with you. It's not panic at the disco moment yet.
Okay. And on that note, with today's topic, you have a pretty good trivia question for us.
So we'll preface this in a different way. We're going to talk about the last couple of games, what's maybe not working, what the next few games outlook looks to be. We are suffering a few injuries. So injury related question. I will say Nick Suzuki has our current Iron Man streak at 472 games. He is our healthiest body. Knock on wood, hopefully not a jinx to Mr. Suzuki, who holds the Montreal Canadiens record for consecutive games played
So who's the Montreal Iron Man of all time?
of all time.
Yeah. Okay. Looking forward to hearing the answer on that. If you jinxed Suzuki tonight, our friendship is over, the podcast is over, and I'm never talking to you again.
And
Um,
and then I currently live in Erie, Pennsylvania, just in case people want to hunt me down.
yeah, yeah. Um, on that note, we're going to dive right into our Mitch Marner report. Not much has changed since the last time. I think they played one more game, but he's still sitting at 4 goals, 15 assists for 19 points, +8, I believe. So not really much has changed there, but he would still be ahead of your best buddy, Austin Matthews,
Yes.
in
Well,
the scoring. So
one small update to Mr. Matthews. He's out with an injury. I think he's got a yeast infection.
mhm.
He left the game uncomfortable. He's day to day, so his stats are not going to change within the next week, and we'll see how long his nagging little injury is going to keep him sidelined.
Yeah. Um, I'm just trying to find real quick here what his numbers are. I didn't bring that up right away. So he's got 9 goals, 5 assists, 17 points, and
That's
yes,
14
he's going to
points
be
unless you're
out.
doing.
Injury, lower body, estimated date of return November 20th. I guess that's when how long it takes to penicillin to kick in for his infection. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, so like I said, again, whether you like it or not, the Leafs are missing Austin Matthews or missing
Mitch Marner.
Mitch
They they
Marner.
did they weren't missing Matthews the other night. They seem to score regularly without him, so it's not him.
Yeah. Okay, so that's going to take us on to our game preview. As we all know, it's Saturday afternoon, late afternoon here, and Montreal is hosting the Bruins tonight. So as always, the Bruins is always a good game, regardless of wherever they are in the standings. Um, I guess we got a few injury updates to go over here. Steve, you take off.
Yeah, yeah. Sadly, for those of you who watched the last game, Alex Newhook taken down, penalty call. He ended up going awkwardly into the boards. Had ankle surgery yesterday or the day before, and he is going to be out 4 months. So 16 weeks. A big setback for us because he was playing very well. He seemed to have that speed and finesse game going with his line mates. So we're going to miss him. And the Habs then same day released a medical update on Caden Gooley. His abductor tear hasn't been healing as they believed it was going to heal, and he subsequently had surgery as well. So he is going to be out another 8 to 10 weeks.
Yeah.
So that puts Gooley back in around the January 10th to the 24th kind of window. That's that 8 to 10 weeks. Alex Newhook will be out. 16 weeks takes him to March the 7th. They said the first week of March. That ironically puts it right in line with the NHL trade deadline.
Yeah, and I
So,
think
you know,
that's kind of an important thing. And I think later on in our discussion on, panic mode or not, we'll dive deeper into that and the ramifications and the significance of those dates as well.
yes, and again, this is not panic time. I'm not. My ankles aren't sore getting off the bandwagon.
Mhm.
Injuries and losses are going to happen.
Yeah.
It's how do we lose and why are we in the shape that we're in? But it's definitely not a panic situation.
Yeah. So, and again, the other two injuries, Line A as well, and Reinbacher, nothing has changed with that. So those four out. The Bruins have John Beecher's out, Lindholm, Middlestat, and our former buddy Jordan Harris is out as well. So, as far as injuries go and who's in, who's out, Boston, Montreal, very similar situations as far as, who's available, who's not. So, we're going to go into the lineups. I believe the projected lineups I have here, they still have the same, our number one line hasn't changed. Um, they have Kirby Doc centering Kapanen and Demidov now. I think that's a change because Newhook was with those two guys most of the time. They
Correct.
got Bolduc, Evans, and Anderson line three. And they got Valeno centering Gallagher and our call up Jared Davidson. What do you got? Any insight on Davidson?
Davidson, they've been, he had a good camp, a good rookie camp, had a respectable main camp. They foresee him being able to play in this league. Down in Laval, he's played 13 games. He's got 9 goals and 2 assists. So rightfully, he's earned a call up. And again, this isn't panic time, folks. I know for some of you listening at home, the logical call up might have been Florian Jacki, bring a bit of size and aggression into the lineup. But with the emergence of Davidson and his offensive numbers, I don't think that's anything to shy away from. I think we got to reward guys that are scoring goals.
Mhm.
And we need to score goals. So if you can bring in another guy that's got a hot stick going, it helps us. So I mean, this could be a 1 game, 2 game, 3 game experiment. But we're going to need somebody at some point. So might as well give a carousel of players that have waiver exemptions and let them all have a taste. At
Mhm.
some point, one of them is going to take the bull by the horns and surprise you. And that's going to lead to what do we do next when everybody's healthy. So, the injuries they're a tough one to deal with, but the downfall to one is an upside to another. And
Mhm.
sometimes that upside creates another problem.
Yeah, and I was gonna agree with you. I was gonna say the same thing. Now's a perfect opportunity to give everybody a chance, you know, rotating call-ups, whatever you want to call it, bring Davidson up a couple games, bring Jacki up a couple games, whatever it is. And again, like we said before, that could be game situational too. You know what I mean? Like um maybe they see Davidson slotting better in the next couple of games, but then, I in the very near future, next week or the week after, I think we're heading on a Western road trip. Maybe they want to call somebody out different as well. Because I think we've got lots of call-up time now with those longer term injuries.
Right. And the benefit to the farm team being, I mean, really just down the highway between Montreal and Laval is that these guys can come up for 1 game. It's not a huge travel commitment for them. It's not like they got to spend hours on a plane flying out to the West Coast.
Mhm.
I suspect that'll be different. Once we head off on our next mini Western road trip, you're going to see somebody called up and probably 2 people
Mhm.
because you don't want to take the chance because if an injury does happen, then you could be a couple of days to get somebody out there, depending on where they are. So, it it serves a purpose to have Laval close, and this is one of those situations because
And they
after tonight, we play a game Monday, and that's in Columbus, not terribly far.
Yeah. And they did the same thing when we went on that Western road trip there a couple weeks ago. They called a guy up before they even left for convenience. And like you say, they're probably going to have to call up too because they've got basically a roster spot they have to fill. And they're probably going to want to call up a press box guy as well for just in case, right?
Right, and that the you hate to say the benefit, but when your higher paid players are getting hurt and you bring a call up in that is less money, you are accruing salary cap dollars towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
So if you carry 2 of these guys, let's be honest, if it's Davidson and Del Gaizo again, they make less money combined than New Hook does. So it's
Yeah.
not like you're breaking the bank to have the extra guy in a road trip. It's just a security blanket if you need it, and
Yeah.
a crutch if you're desperate, knowing that your immediate help is there next game and not a shorter game later.
Yeah. And I did the math before we went on here. Right now with the players out, we got $17.1 million out on injury right now. So I think it's only a certain percentage of that it gets accumulated towards the cap later on. And it's obviously, of course, the length of time they're off, you accumulate more, but it's only
Right.
a percentage. So
Yeah.
I mean, it will definitely help us. It's sad that they're hurt, but it will help us at trade deadline, which again we'll dive deeper into later on in this episode.
Yeah, every dollar counts. This is not the right way to do it, unfortunately, but injuries are they're part of the game, and every team goes through them.
And one last roster note: confirmed starters are Swayman for Boston and Monty for Montreal. Um,
And I
I'm
don't
actually
think we should be surprised there.
No, I don't think so. And I think for me, I'm actually a little bit surprised to see Swayman's numbers. If you look at his numbers here, real quick, I'll just get right to it here. So he's got a 3.08 goals against and only a 900 save percentage, which he's 7-4 win-loss record. So I'm actually surprised at because I think he's a much better goalie than that, and I would expect his numbers to be higher. Monty, we all know Monty struggles 3.61 goals against, 857 save percentage. I mean, we'd obviously like that to be higher, but I don't suspect, I think that's his level. He's a sub 900 goalie and a 3.5 goals against per
Yeah,
game. I just think that's who he is.
if you look at his body of work, it's traditionally been that way.
Mhm.
Just because a guy wins 30 games or 30 plus games in this league doesn't mean his save percentage is through the roof and
Mhm.
his goals against averages
Mhm.
is barely above zero.
Mhm.
It means that he could still have a bad save percentage and a bad goals against average. Just maybe we scored more goals in the games that he played. So, going back to the old Oiler days, the run and gun, 6-5 game is still a win, but you're still
Mhm.
giving up a lot of goals in the process. So, we have to be better defensively. We have to tighten up the second chance shots and the run of goals. But Monty is capable of hanging in there at the best of times because he's done it for us in the past. We
Mhm.
just need him to get in a groove. I don't care about the goals against average. We just need to win more games than we lose right now.
Yeah. So on that note, let's dive into some predictions here of what we see for tonight. I think I'm expecting a bounce back for Montreal. I think after those last two games, I mean, I think they 12-1 for goals over those last two games, I believe it was. That's embarrassing. And I'm not saying that as a fan. I'm proud of my team and I always will be. But as players, they don't like that. They're embarrassed. I expect them to come out fighting. I expect a big comeback. And and the other side to that, Boston is playing out of their shoes right now. They are not that team. I expect that bubble to burst soon,
Right.
and I would rather be sooner than later. And hopefully tonight Montreal can, stick a pin in that bubble and be the start of that bubble bursting. I'm expecting a multi-goal win, a win by, 4-2, 5-3, something like that.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. We need a bounce back effort. And again, we can talk about this, and this is the captain obvious statement of the day. The players know they lost badly. They
Mhm.
know that. They can
That's
math.
not a hot take.
Yeah, they're pretty good at math. I mean, they know that when you score one and you give up 12, not good.
Mhm.
Under no point is that good. I mean, no team likes to concede a touchdown
Mhm.
in a game in ice hockey. It was not football. It was ice hockey. And the players are professionals. They don't like to hear it. If there's one market you're going to hear it, you're going to hear it in Montreal. Montreal and Toronto are probably the two hardest markets when you're losing. We just get stuck with two languages. So
Yeah.
these guys get called. They get called and yelled at if they're in the streets in languages they don't understand because most of
Yeah.
them don't speak French.
Yeah.
But it is embarrassing from a perspective of wins and losses and how bad it is.
Yeah.
Why did it happen? We talked about this in the last episode. We were 2-8 in the last 10 games in an 8-game losing streak against LA. We were 3 wins, 7 losses against Dallas in the last 10 games, although we had won the last meeting between the two teams. So when you look at it, that's 5-15 against two teams.
Mhm.
Those two teams are big, heavy, they play heavy, grinding teams, and they both were relentless. So we had a hard time once they started cycling the puck, recovering and carrying momentum. Now, last game against Dallas, we outshot them 14-5 in the first period. Casey DeSmith, I don't think his eyes were open because he didn't even see half the pucks he saved. But it doesn't have you don't have to because it doesn't matter. They
Mhm.
were up 1-0 at the end of the first period.
Mhm.
We had a brain fart of brain farts in period two, and next thing you know, it's 5-0, and the lights went out in Georgia, as they say, because
Mhm.
we weren't in that one, and
Yeah.
and that's okay. You know, if you're gonna lose badly, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Losing 2-1 in regulation time, giving up a third period goal with 7 seconds left in the clock doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I would rather lose badly because at that point, everybody else that's involved in the game, the coaching, the video, you can find the things that you need to correct. You can identify it. You can get a game plan, and you can be game aware.
Yeah.
2-1, you can say, well, it's an unlucky bounce
Mhm.
or a bad penalty call, or that should have been an offside and it was missed, or a kicked in puck. You can make excuses. You can't make excuses when there's 7 of them in your net,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Okay.
both
So
goals let in bad goals. We just need to be better. That's simple.
Okay, so let's dive right into this week's topic. Is it time to panic? I think we're both obviously in agreement that it's not. I got concerns about the last two games, but I'm not in panic mode as far as what's happening with the team. I think, there are a few things we could discuss as to what needs to change, and I think the injuries that you brought up earlier, I think is a good opportunity to adjust one of those things with maybe line assignments and roster shuffling.
Yeah, I mean, we've played a few weeks without Gooley, and our 6 defensive guys have been respectable. I mean, Gooley brings a different element, which then allows said partner to play a different style.
Mm.
But we can overcome that. Struble has filled in admirably. In the Gooley absence. But now we've got Veleno in the lineup essentially for line A. Now we need to bring in a guy for Newhook. So again, what does that mean? It means you go to the depth market. You try to rejuvenate with energy, youth, or experience. This time we're going with youth. It does give Marty St. Louis a chance to mix and mingle lines. So I think it was against LA. He took Demidov off the second line and swapped him with Slavkovsky. And it's good to see that's an option.
Mm.
Marty's got to look at this. I think if anything else, your solution is within. We have talent. So if one guy isn't having a good game, do you move another guy up? Is it a matter of changing 3 guys on 3 lines? I think we can do that. And I think we need to do more of that when it's not going well, because what's working isn't working. So let's try something else.
Yeah, and I have a suggestion. I like the idea of doing that Demidov and Slavkovsky switch. I like the idea of putting Demidov up there on the wing with Suzuki and Caulfield. I think that is a potential for dynamite, and I think that is potentially, maybe by the end of the year next year, I think that's going to be your number one line. Eventually, Demidov is going to be there. And I like the idea of keeping him second line right now, but I think eventually he's going to be the number one guy. But if you take Slavkovsky and put him on that second line with Doc, although I'm a big Kapanen fan, I think you put Seth holy cow, that
The
guy,
tongue twister.
Slav. If you put Slav on a line with Doc and maybe put Bolduc up there or Evans, that's a big, powerful line that can, north south line drive the net that can drive a play. I think there's opportunity there, and that probably opens up more space for Kapanen. If you have him down with say Gallagher or Anderson Bolduc, whoever the third player isn't up on that second line. It's worth to try, right?
Right. I mean, I would have liked to seen them experiment, and maybe it's a mobility issue, maybe it's just a personality issue. If you're gonna make that switch and take Demidov over from line 2 to line 1,
Mm.
that puts Slav out there. Doc's a big body guy, but if you're gonna pair them with somebody, maybe try him with Anderson. Let's go with the three guys that are the big, heavy guys, because at some point they're going to grind you out a line.
Yeah.
And then maybe you put Kapanen down with Gallagher and Bolduc. Maybe you got to just change a couple other parts,
Mhm.
and maybe it's on a game by game basis, because you got to find a spark somewhere. I
Mhm.
don't, I don't want to get out the mixing bowl in the blender and try and recreate a recipe for disaster,
Yeah.
because that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But I think there's enough talent that you can move guys up and down. Nobody's looking at it as I have to get 16 and a half minutes a game because I'm on the second line. You
Mhm.
get told to go down the ice when the coach pats you on the back, you go down the ice.
Yeah.
Average minutes have fluctuated. And I think the last two or three, most of the top nine have been within a minute or two on the game. So
Mhm.
Marty is trying to use his bench and his depth a little bit more. Maybe he's got to shorten up some of those guys and put the top line out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's go
Well,
back to what was working
I think
before.
it works
So
good because he's rolling the lines, which is better because um, I think it saves the players instead of playing, your top two lines, 20 minutes each and you're tiring them out. You have that option of rolling 3/4 lines to one, maybe give the other team something to think about, but you're not wearing out your players in the same sense.
yeah, it's definitely a balancing act. I mean,
Mhm.
we don't think that Marty belongs in the circus juggling balls, but he's juggling lines and players. And he's got to find something that works, and he seems to have the respect from his players. So it's not out of the realm to expect a few more changes.
Yeah.
That
Well,
doesn't mean panic. That
how's
just
this?
means
How's this for a change? I'm just going over the projected lineups here. Again, dailyfaceoff.com has this. They've got the lineups as we mentioned earlier, and we talked about the defense. I mean, the six defense, I'm on their bandwagon. I'm a big fan of the way the defense is set up right now. First power play unit has changed, but they got Jared Davidson on the second power play unit, which is nice to see. Maybe a little bit of a surprise, but it just lets you know Marty's not afraid to juggle, as you say.
no, I mean, but he's got 9 goals, right? He's
Yeah,
still playing pro hockey. He's got 9 goals. So
yeah,
if he can shoot the puck, maybe he plays on the bumper position in Laval. I don't know that much about how their power play sets up, but he's got 9 goals. So
yeah,
let's not discount the fact that he has a nose for the net.
yeah.
Maybe this is a spark, and maybe this is the homework that the Boston video guys can't do quick enough to say how does he fit in with this style of
Yeah.
guy compared to Laval and Montreal. So maybe this is the secret weapon that we're looking for.
Could be. It'd be, and I like to see. Again, you know me, I've always been a fan of giving the young guys a chance, and I like to see that they're not only giving them a chance on a call up, but they're putting them on the power play unit to, here, let's see what you can do. Here's your chance. You grab the horse by the reins and you do what you can.
Yeah, and it's going to do one of two things, right? Thanks again, Captain Obvious. You're either going to succeed or fail. This isn't going to be well, meh. Let's see what happens. You're either going to know right away this doesn't work, or wow, that was better than expected. So let's just do it again the same
Yeah.
way next game.
Okay. So as an option of a line juggle, I think that works. I mean, like you said, there's various options, but I mean, I think the next obvious one. I mean, we've talked about call ups and rotating call ups or whatever, but these are really only going to be band-aid solutions to what really needs to be done. Um, I think you're going to see more urgency on a trade, maybe. I know there's been discussion and rumor mills lately about, we've talked about Tage Thompson, um, Kyrou out of St. Louis, different things like that. Does this not panic mode, but maybe more urgent for the trade?
Well, and that might be the direction we go with this, because if the things that you have within aren't working, you have to look from not within,
Mhm.
and that means a trade. Were we targeting a top D man? I don't think we were.
Mhm.
If we start struggling, maybe we escalate a call up on the D line and give him a whirl as well. Guys was a guy who played sometime in Nashville, so it's not like he's foreign to the NHL game. I just think at the next stage, we talked about a number 2 centerman. I hate to label guys, I really do.
Mm.
Because if Kapanen is playing well and you go make a trade, does that mean you move a guy down? You put guys together and you give them the ice time as you need to give them. It doesn't matter what line you think they are, what line they think they are. You play them accordingly. So rumors are wonderful. We've heard that Tage Thompson is in the mix. Kevin Adams has said this week, general manager of the Sabres, we are not on fire yet. We are not going down. We still
Whoa,
think
whoa,
we
whoa,
can.
whoa, whoa. Hold on. I'm going to cut you off right here. Kevin Adams can say they're not on fire yet, but he's the only one in denial because Buffalo, and again,
They
I'm
are.
going to trash Buffalo, whether it's hockey, football, whatever they do, they manage to be a dumpster fire. It doesn't matter how they do it.
It's true. It's
Yeah.
true. North Tonawanda dumpster fires are common in Buffalo sports, and burn baby burn.
Yeah.
So whether he wants to admit it now or December, he has said at this time we're not trading the player.
Mhm.
Kadri is another name that was on the market
Mhm.
or perceived to be on the market because they were off to a slow start. They have said they are not open for business with that player yet. That doesn't mean that you make the right offer that he's not available all of a sudden. Look, if Gretzky can be traded and or sold at some point, and he was traded a couple of times, anybody can
Yeah.
be traded tomorrow. Let's be honest. So, just because a guy says, "Oh, he's not for sale or not for trade," doesn't mean that you don't see his name traded the next day. That's
Yeah.
usually what happens.
Yeah. It
So,
usually goes the other way. When you say it'll never happen, that's when it
yeah.
happens. Yeah.
Yeah, boom, surprise.
Yeah.
So do I think we need to look at that? I mean,
Mhm.
Pavel Zacha from the Boston Bruins, he's a centerman. He was another guy in around the $4.5 million mark that was rumored to be on the market. Boston's off to a reputable start. So if they were on about dealing them, it's not now. So I'm sure Hugo is kicking tires wherever they think they need to kick tires. We have the assets. It's just, do you want to burn them now? I don't think this is a panic move, or there would have been a trade. So, I believe we're not in a panic mode. The GMs believe we're not in a panic mode. Some Facebook groups may think that, but yeah, great, woohoo. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, and,
it
and
is
again,
what it is.
I think I would never agree we're in a panic mode. Um, for the obvious reasons we just discussed, but I think now we could use this as an opportunity to see what we have, right? Like for Jared Davidson, for Florian Jack for whoever Owen Beck, give him another chance. Does
And
Waugh get
Joshua
another
was been up.
does Waugh
So
get another call up, get a chance? Like you'd mentioned, Del Gaizo. I think there's an opportunity here to give the younger guys, okay, we've got some injuries. Now's your time to shine, and let's see what happens. Because eventually, what's going to end up happening, like you and I have discussed, I mean, since the inception of this podcast, and you and I have discussed this for years, that not enough spots. And again, I still want to get into this other episode of trades and drafts and all that. I think that's a great topic. At some point we're going to have to trade somebody that's going to hurt, whether it be Kapanen. I've even heard Slav's name out there. I've heard all kinds of different ideas of who to trade to get, i.e., Tage Thompson or whoever it is. But in the meantime, this is the perfect chance for guys to show what they got and either prove themselves as part of this team or prove themselves as good trade bait.
right, and it does sting when you see Emil Heineman scoring 9 goals with the Islanders.
Mhm.
It stings a bit, but in this day and age, 31 other general manager are as smart as our general manager. Some are smart, but don't evaluate their own talent like they should. But they're smart hockey guys. You're not trading Michael Pezzetta for Connor McDavid. That
No.
trade does not exist. EA Sports won't even let you do it on a console. So you're not doing it in real life. So what does that mean?
Yeah.
You've got to find a way to make it work. So if you want to be part of the solution, play your ass off, prove that you want to be here.
Mhm.
If you don't do that, you could find your one-way ticket to Booneyville.
Mhm.
So and that's either in the minors or another NHL city. I'm okay with that.
Mhm.
And you're right. To get something, you got to give something.
Mhm.
So as we all fall in love with these players, and some of them we fall really in love with, at some point it could be the hockey trade that has to happen, a la PK Subban for Shea Weber.
Mhm.
Wasn't a popular trade at the
Oh,
time.
I hated that.
Worked well for both franchises. I mean,
Yeah.
this isn't a John Cordick for Russ Courtnell deal. I
No,
mean,
no.
these things don't happen, right? I mean, but you sometimes you got to give something up to get something, and it could be just players looking for a change of scenery, need a change of scenery. And let's be honest, folks, please don't send me 40,000 messages. I want you to, but we are not trading Gallagher and Anderson to get McDavid. That trade doesn't exist either, right? Trades have got to make sense because cap dollars are important.
If they could work out that trade, I'll pay for the plane ticket to get McDavid to Montreal. That's how sure I am that it's not happening.
I'll drive up from Indiana and pick him up at the airport too,
Yeah, yeah.
and buy
Okay,
him dinner.
yeah. So we've talked about the call up options. We've talked about, juggling lines. We've talked about, potential trades. Again, I don't think we're in panic mode to trade to try to get a guy. I think the ultimate goal is Olympic break slash trade deadline, um, where we really need to see where we're at as far as what we need. What I don't, are there other options out there? Do you foresee any other way
Well,
of, you know,
I I
mixing?
think we I think we have to evaluate our opponents and respect them more.
Mhm.
The two games that we lost and we were badly outscored, we were out hit, outworked. Now, we're going into a game against the Bruins tonight. The Boston Bruins have an average NHL size of 6'2", weighing 207 pounds. They
Mhm.
are one of the tallest and heaviest teams in the league.
Mhm.
We are average. Now,
Yeah,
what
but I
does
don't
that
think I don't think that's a
hang on?
the Bruins notoriously have been a big pounding team
Okay,
for as
but you
long as
but
I can remember.
but you're right. But let me give you the statistic. The Bruins are averaging 6'2", 207. We are 6'1", 201.
Mhm.
Does 1 inch and 5 pounds make a difference?
Mhm.
Well, that's what she said, but it's not in the NHL game, right?
I
I
knew
mean,
you were
it's like
going there.
it's like skating around with an extra half a bag of potatoes. Like that ain't beating you up in the NHL game,
Yeah.
right? Now, over 18 guys, I guess it could be grinding and grueling, but
Mhm.
I just want to say it's not like we're all 5'7", 180 pounds playing these
Mhm.
guys that are 20 and 30 pounds difference.
Mhm.
So size is a factor. I would like to see us play a more physical game against some of these teams because I think we aren't getting out hit, we're getting outworked. And when you're getting outworked, you're getting out muscled, you're getting out skated. I think it's just an effort thing. I would like to see us adjust a little bit better against those teams that play a physical game. We have to be prepared to take the body, whether that's hold on to the puck a little bit more and not turn it away or
Mhm.
turn it over when we turn away from it. I think we can just play a little bit different style at that point. We need to stick to our style, but when
Yeah.
it's not working,
So
we got to grind in.
so it could be what you're surmising, I guess, or what you're and I kind of agree with you is it's maybe a little bit of a I don't want to say a player mentality or player maybe the players need to give a little more, but maybe a little coaching tweak too that could make a difference.
Yeah. And maybe when we're looking at this road trip and you're playing against the bigger teams, maybe that's where the Jack guy comes in because he plays that style of game. So I would like to think that our management team and our scouting and evaluation departments are saying this is the better place, and that's why Florian hasn't got called up. But
Mm.
um it's early and we're still not 20 games in, folks. Like let's calm the jets,
Yeah.
back up the cart to the horses again. It's okay.
Okay. Any final thoughts before we move on to trivia?
Um, Again, final thoughts. I'm looking for a bounce back. This isn't a team that forgot how to play hockey overnight.
Mm.
We just got outworked. Whether we were tired, whether we were riding an emotional high, general managers, coaches, players, they've seen we were off to a good start. They're coming in to knock us down. When you're at the top, there's only one way to go, and that's down.
Mm.
Right? If you're not riding that wave at the top, somebody's always trying to get you. So I like to think that we skate hard. We're at home. If you look at the outlook, we're one game on the road, then back to two more games at home. So
Yeah.
maybe this mini road trip, it's one game to Columbus and then off Thursday, so we have a few days off. I'm looking at this as a productive thing for us, and we're going to grind out a win tonight.
Yeah. And I would agree. And I can't stress this enough. Do not panic. This is not panic time. You don't lose two games. I mean, sure, we got outscored 12-1, but this is by no means panic
Hey,
time.
I just want to interject. For those that think this is pet, yes, we outscored 12-1. We are riding a 6,951 game streak, guys, that we haven't given up 11 goals. So
That's got
11
to be a
goals or
record.
fewer
That's got to be an NHL record.
in 6,951 games. So, I mean,
Yeah.
we're doing something right.
Yeah. Let's hold on. I'm going to write that down and I'm going to email the Canadians, see if we can get a banner raised to the roof for that.
Yeah, 6,950. That's a lot of games, guys.
Yeah. Yeah. So again, it's not panic mode. I know we're both agree on this and I hate to see I just don't want to be like those Toronto media guys where they panic right away. The Toronto media totally biased about, it's always somebody else's fault. They chase their players out of town, a la Mitch Marner, and they suffer. I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be that podcast. We don't want to be those type of fans.
No,
And I'm going to
but
throw a
but
little
we
thing out tonight. Sorry, go
but
ahead.
we have to be realists, though.
Right.
We can acknowledge that we lost a couple games. That's all
Yeah.
this is.
We got spanked. We got outplayed. It's that simple.
We
Right?
can admit that.
Yeah. Um, but I'm going to call on the ghosts of hockey past here and you know give a little shout out to Madame Bellevaux. Hopefully she's in the building tonight. I suspect an original six team that will happen and maybe get some inspiration from her and from Mr. Bellevaux himself and help us along onto a win.
Well, let's hope. I mean, she always gets the crowd electric, and like you say, original six matchup. I'm sure she, over the course of time, has friends associated with that organization. So maybe she will be in the building. Let's hope that's the magic we need.
Yeah. So on that note, who's the Iron Man?
So, like I said, Nick Suzuki, 472 games. Believe it or not, he's approaching franchise record at this point because the franchise record is Doug Jarvis, who came in 1975, 76 season, and he played his 80 games straight until the end of the 1981-82 season. So he played 560 consecutive games in a
Wow.
Montreal uniform before he was traded to Hartford. And he went on to have a 964 game run. So that guy played a career.
Yeah. Wow.
As an Ironman. So, Suzuki at this point going into tonight is less than 100 games away. So that's really the rest of this year and most of next year. And,
yeah.
and
fingers
crossed
again,
that
touch wood.
Yeah.
If you jinxed it, Steve, we're going to have issues.
I told you before, I do not live in Indiana. I live in Albuquerque, New Mexico now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Find me there. I will be hanging out with Walter White.
Yeah. Okay. On that note, that's going to conclude today's episode of Behind Enemy Lines. Again, don't panic, people. Don't panic. But please subscribe and hit that subscribe button. Comment, like, share. Let us know what you think. Good having you around, and we'll hope to see you in the next episode. Thanks for watching. And Steve?
And keep your stick on the ice.